Good morning, all of you. Welcome back to the course on mobile communication and computing. During our previous session, we discussed about the different propagation techniques. After that, we discussed about the three techniques. The first one was the ground wave propagation. When we talk about the propagation is a technique or a process through which how the signal which travel from one place to other place. That we discussed about the three types of propagation. The first one is that ground wave propagation. The second one is that uh, what yes, which reflects in the ionosphere, right? And the third one is that we discussed about, that is sky wave propagation. And the third one is that which is line of sight propagation. When we talk about ground wave propagation, the signal which are higher in wavelength, that signals which propagates on reflecting the surface of the earth. So normally the radio waves or whatever the waves we are using for the radio signals are the audio broadcastings, right? And FM radio and AM radios, these services, they are using the ground wave propagations, like all some other radar communication signals, which are used to propagate using the ground wave propagations. So these signals, which will travel, which like to travel for a longer distance because the wavelength is high when compared to the other signals. So it naturally it propagate or it travels to the longer distance when compared with the other signals. Right? When we talk about the second technique, which is a sky wave propagation, in which the medium wavelength or medium wave frequencies that from the ground, it will be reflected on the surface of the earth, and then that will propagate to the ionosphere layer which is present in the sky. And so these are the medium wave frequencies which will not be able to propagate the ionosphere, but it can get reflected from the ionosphere and then it will bounce back to the surface of the earth. By the way, so the signal will bounce back from surface of the earth to ionosphere, and then it will get reflected, and then it will get reflected to ground to sky, again sky to ground. By the way, it will keep on propagate, reflecting in the ground surface as well as the ionosphere. So the signal will propagate from one point of, I mean, the source to the destination by bouncing back from ground to the earth, I mean, ground to the ionosphere, and then ionosphere back to the ground. So this is how the sky wave propagation which works. Again, the third which we discussed about is the line of sight propagation. When we talk about the line of sight propagation, which uses the high frequency signals, right? So this high frequency signal which crosses the ionosphere, and maybe after crossing the ionosphere layer, and there might be some refractions, but it crosses the ionosphere layers and then it passes to the satellite, from the earth to the satellite, and the satellites to the receiver end. So this is how the line of sight propagation which works. Again, so this where this line of sight propagation uses, again, when we talk about telephonic communications or normal other communications, right? Wherever we use telephonic communication or longer range of signal transmission, or any maybe 2G, 3G, or 4G, all these techniques, especially when we talk about the satellite communications, these signals, which will propagate from ground to the satellite and then satellite to the receiver. This is how this line of sight propagation which works, right? So these are the few things we discussed how the signals can propagated. Then apart from that, we discussed about some of the losses when naturally whenever the signal moves from one place to other place, there are naturally signals can lose during its transmission. Suppose if you are watching a TV in your room and you can hear the voice as well as soundtrack clearly. Suppose if you are moving away from the TV source or the transmitting source, automatically your the TV sound will be reduced automatically, even though there is no obstacle in the room, right? So this, again, so naturally when the signal which transfer from one place to other place, that automatically there could be the decreases of the sources or energy, right? Again, so there are different techniques or different methods through which a signal can lose during its transmission, maybe through the refraction, reflection, maybe multipath loss, right? So instead of moving a signal in direct place, so whenever the signal moves from one place to other place. Say, for example, if you are using a Wi-Fi router, and the Wi-Fi router which propagates the signals, and if you are no your Wi-Fi router is no placed in a living room, but if you are sitting in a hall or bedroom, in that cases the signal has to reflect in the wall as well as doors. Automatically, there are chances that your signal strength or energy may be reduced when it reaches to you. So these are the different losses whenever the signal which propagates from one place to other place, right? Maybe the scattering, or maybe the multipath loss, maybe reflection or refraction, right? Whenever no, if the signal sits on any dense objects, automatically it cannot be propagated, right? So maybe the signal may be obstructed, right? Or maybe it may be the deviation may take place after hitting any dense objects. So these are the few elements which are related to that the signal propagation effects we discussed in the previous session. Is it clear for all of you? This was a quick recap of the topic which we covered in the last lecture. Is it clear for all of you? Any doubts? Shall we move into the next topic? Okay, that's fine. Is this screen is visible for all of you? Anyone quickly write in a chat box. So I'll start. Is the screen is visible? Anyone can unmute and say, I'm not able to read the chat box.
Yes, sir, visible.
Okay, thank you, Gokul. In today's session, and we will be discussing about another fundamental concept in which the mobile communication technology works as a multiple access technique. I think you would have studied the basic information which are related to the multiple access when you were studying a computer network subjects. When we talk about the multiple access technique, again, suppose if there is a channel or there is a carrier, when you talk about a channel or a medium or the carrier that is used to carry or that is used to transmit a signal from one source to other source. Before that, so these are the learning objective of this specific topic, which first we'll have the introduction, and then we will discuss about some of the real-time example which relate with how this medium access control, which uses the multiple access techniques in the wireless control or wireless techniques. And we'll have the analogy which are related to the conversation of many people at the same place with the different multiple access technique. And then we'll discuss about different dimensions or of multiple access. And finally, we'll see the summary of the topic which we covered in the session. Before that, and I was talking about multiple access technique, right? And when there is a channel, right? Say for example, if there is only one channel, I could say that if there is only one channel, if there are two people they are communicating, and that channel is completely occupied, if the channel is reserved, and no other person cannot be able to use the channel unless until if both the persons they complete their conversation, right? So in some cases the channel or the carrier will be very limited. In that cases we need to find some other alternate instead of allocating a specific channel to the two users, and they were finding a solution. What are the other technique which could be used so that a same channel or one channel will be uh, accessed by multiple users at the same time. So this idea no was a lead to invention of this multiple access technique. Instead of allocating a channel to one and one users or two users at a time, right? So they were intended to generate some technique or invented some technique, that technique which enabled the multiple users can access the same medium at the same time. So this is called a multiple access technique, right? Or this is called a multiplexing. And the technique, no, or whenever we are using the multiplexing, so that technique which is called multiple access. Before that, and we'll discuss some analogy. Suppose there are a few people they are sitting in a room and they are communicating and they're talking to each other. Our idea or goal is that, right? We need to regulate their conversations, right? If say imagine that there are 20 people in a room, right? And so they are no going to have some conferences, that they are going to have some conversation with each other, right? And so what we are going to do is that, so suppose if there is a no monitor, if there is no controller, everyone will talk each other and they might be shouting and one might be talking to each other, one might be making noise, right? So that may not be a fruitful communication. In that cases, there are something or some monitor or some person and who should be the controller, or who is going to be the regulate conversation among all users, right? That how that is could be possible is that, again, the second scenario, the conversation of many people at the same place. The first thing is that, so what we can do is that we can divide a group of people, the entire maybe the 20 or 30 people, so they can be divided into small groups, divide the people among separate groups and make them sit at a substantially far distance from each other, so that whatever the communication which takes place, so here only these people will communicate and only these four people will communicate, and then the third group, only these four people, they will communicate each other, right? Now when we talk about the interference, right, so there should be a sufficient amount of distance between these two groups. So if the distance is sufficient, that will avoid the interference or overlapping. Suppose whatever the people, these four people are this first group they are discussing, that should not be heard by the second group of people, so that if the distance is more, they cannot hear the what the other group member they are speaking. So in case if they are hearing the other group members sound or voice, so that is called the interference. So we need to take care of that. So there should be the certain minimum distance, so that the signal or the voice, right, or the audio of the other user, that should not be interfere with each other, right? So this is again one solution through which, now the thing is that there is again a constraint if again the geographical location which is very restricted or very limited. So this could be an alternate idea. Maybe this could be the alternate idea. Other than that, if again the geographic location is very limited, in that cases, to avoid the interference among the group, they can be restricted to talk with the different phase at a different time. When you talk about the different phase, might be one. I mean, it related to the frequency, right? Maybe one group of people, they might be speaking in a different frequencies, or might be the different tonal activities, and the other group member, they might be talking in a different frequency or different range. So again, the next one is that again the same people, they might be giving a specific time slot. Only in those time slot, and those people belong to that group, they will start communicate to each other. So this is again completely based on a time. Every team or every group, they will get a time. Only in that time only they can able to speak with each other. In remaining time, they should be idle. They should not talk. Very similar to that, the time slot will be given to the every groups. Whenever if any group gets a time, and they will talk to each other, they will have the conversation. Is it clear for all of you? Any response? Is it clear for all of you? Okay. The third idea, which could be the members are, I mean, one members or one group members, right? They can speak in a different language. Speak in a different language separable from each other. So there should be very less correlation between the languages. again, so this could be an alternate option, right? And based on their the communication language, again, so they can speak each other only within the group. They will use a different language, so that even if the other person hears and he may not be able to understand, or he may not be able to get what they are speaking, right? So these are the some of the example which are related to that, how we can find a solution to that if group of people they are sitting in one place based on the different parameters. The next example which I wanted to say here is that the highway problems, right? Our solution is that we wanted to find out that if the highway lane are limited, so if there are in a village side, we will have only one road, only one vehicle can travel at a time. When it comes to the metropolitan, again, it depends upon the highway or maybe the state highway. Two vehicle, or maybe in when we talk about national highways, 4 to 6 vehicle depends upon the lane which is present, right? So we wanted to find out a solution to that, the maximum vehicle which can commute in the uh, lane. So this is our solution. When you talk about the first thing, so here in the diagram I have given, so this consists of 4 lanes. One is for outward and one is for inward, right? So here there are 2 lanes which is for outward, and in the bottom side you can find the 2 lanes which which is used for the inwards, right? Now what is this? The solution one is that we can divide it into the lanes. Here when we talk about the lane, again it's a specific road in which only one vehicle can transmit at a time or travel at a time. Here this is there are 2 lanes for outwards and then 2 lanes for inward, but at a time how many vehicle will commute in this particular place? For 2 vehicle for inward and then 2 outwards. Every vehicle can use a single lane, and the number of wheel which can pass without a collision is limited to the number of lanes. And suppose if you are using only this pattern, again, so depends upon the number of lanes available. Only if there are 2 lanes, again only 2 vehicle which can travel at a time, right? Very similar to that. The second solution is that, so suppose if the lanes are restricted, now what we can do is that in the previous diagram, irrespective of the speed, right? Only one lane which will be allocated to one vehicle at a time, right? Other vehicle will not be able to use that lane. In that cases, in the second example here, allow more than one vehicle to pass the same lane, provided by they move with the different speed. So here in the previous I was talking about that, so this is very similar to that, the space division multiple access. I was talking about if there are 2 people, they are in a communication, if there is only one channel that will be permanently allocated to them, unless until they complete their communication, they will not be able to, other person they may not be able to use it. Suppose if this is the case in the road, in this road only one vehicle will be allowed, unless until if this vehicle is reached the destination or this point, no other vehicle will not be able to allowed to use this lane. Is it clear for all of you? So this is unless until the complete task has been completed, the other vehicle could not be able to use the same lane. So this is a space division multiplexing example. Again, when we talk about the second, this is irrespective of the lanes. Suppose if there are 2 3 lanes, let's assume that there are 2 lanes or 3 lanes, allows more than one vehicle to pass the same lane, provided they move with a different speed. I think when you traveled in the highways, you can find that in the B lane and then high speed lane and then slow lane. And normally, the lane which is next to the barricade, that will be the high lane, where no the high speed vehicle which pass on the lane, right? When we come to the left side, right, so that will be the medium speed lane, where you will find that heavy vehicles or the container will move into that lane. So it depends upon that the specific lane will be allocated for based on the vehicle speed. So here this lane will be used for the vehicle which travel are in the average speed or the medium speed. So here maybe this might be the slow speed. Again, here this is the lane for the medium speed. Now again, so this could be the fast lanes where the vehicle will move maybe any 100 to 120 kilometer per hour. So depends upon the frequencies, depends upon their vehicle speed. We can separate the lanes, right? So and automatically this may increase some of the vehicle which can be used to commute from one place to other place when compared with the space division multiple access. Is it clear for all of you? The third scenario is that, so here, furthermore, vehicles can be accommodated if the vehicles arrive at a different time. So even suppose if this normally happens, right? Suppose if already there are two lanes, right, moving, right? Suppose if it finds that if any lane is free in between, right? So here this vehicle can overtake and then it comes forward and then it will use this, start using this lane. Very similar to that. So it depends upon the availability, right? Automatically the speed may increase and decrease, right? So that the efficient utilization of the road will be perfect. Very similar. This again, this type of commuting, which is called based on the time division, right? Based on that, the availability of the slot. I mean, the vehicle will move from one. I mean, which can able to move from one lane to other lane, where depends on the free slot, right? Uh, Next, we'll discuss about the multiplexing. In the beginning of the lecture, I explained about what is meant with this multiplexing. Very similar to that. Multiplexing is a technique which is used to allow many users to share a common transmission resources. Again, when we talk about common transmission resources, whether it could be when we talk about the wired communication, in that whatever the channel we uses, maybe the coaxial cable or fiber optic cable or Ethernet cable, whatever it is, when it comes to the radio or wireless frequencies or wireless communications, again the air is the medium, right? Again, how this could be used, right? Maybe the depends upon the frequency, maybe it depends upon the other parameters. So sharing common resources by multiple users at a time, that is called a multiplexing, right? So here I was talking about that it is completely how effectively we are utilizing the radio spectrum. Sharing a common resource requires an access mechanism that will control the multiplexing mechanism. This is called a multiple access technique, right? So any technique which uses a multiplexing, that is called a multiple access technique. So based on the previous example or analogy, right? So we are going to discuss about four dimensions of regulating access. The first two are the space division multiple access. The second one is the frequency division multiple access, and the third one is that third and fourth are time division multiple access and the code division multiple access. When you talk about a space division, right, the entire geographical location which will be divided and that will be allocated for the group of people or the specific users. Again, when it comes to the frequency division multiple access, the available frequency will be allocated to the users. If there are 10 users, 10 users will be using a 10 different frequencies. That we, I think already we discussed when we were studying about cellular system. I was explaining about the clustering. In the clustering, when we talk about the clustering, there are no frequency reuse concepts, right? Now, when we talk about the frequencies, what is meant by a frequency? Frequency, how often a periodic signal which repeats, right? How many cycle which happens in the particular or repeats in a particular time unit, right? Again, the frequency which will be measured in the unit of hertz, right? Number of repetitions, right? And when we are discussing about cellular architecture and then the clustering, and then we discussed about frequency reuse. When we talk about the frequency reuse, the same frequency which will be used by the other cell or other base station. So that will avoid no, the same frequency will be reused. But the distance between these two cells we are calling as the co-channel reuse ratio or co-channel distance, right? Or reuse distance, right? So that the signal should not be overlapped with each other, right? After certain distance, same frequency can be used, right? Again, when we talk about frequency division multiple access, individual users, they will be allocated or they will be using a unique frequencies. If there are 10 users, each and every 10 users, they will be using a different frequencies. So that even if the signals are transmitted in the same medium, so every signal which will propagate it's based on its own frequency, so that so there should not be any interference, because all the signals which are trying to travel in a different frequencies. So again, so this is also another idea which through which how the multiple access is possible. The third one is that the time division multiple access. When you talk about uh, time division multiple access, in that cases, individual users they will be giving a time slot for their communication. So, for example, if there are 4 users, they wanted to access a common communication channel, right? In that cases, every users they will be allotted a specific time duration. Say, for example, first user's data will be used, I mean, transmitted for the first 2 seconds, and then so first of all, the data will be collected and then that will be stored in somewhere in the buffer. After that, every after the particular 2 seconds, one first user data and then second user two data and then third user data, fourth user data, every time slot, a unique time slot will be allocated for the individual users' data. Right? If there are 4 users, every 4 users they will be allocated to the particular time unit, maybe 2 seconds or a milliseconds, right? So based on the time slot, every user's data will be transmitted in the same channel. So this how the time division multiple access works. Again, when we talk about core division multiple access, so in that cases, again, each and every users they will be using a specific code. Maybe that we will be discussing in the later part also. Individual users they will be using they will be allotted with the specific unique codes. Based on that code and user data, this unique code will be multiplied or maybe it performs some operation and that will be transmitted, right? At the receiving end against the user data, and then the code will be again which perform the reverse operation and the data will be extracted. By the way, every users they will be using a unique code, and so that will be used for multi-user. They can, I mean, multiple users they can transmit the data using a common channel. So these are the overview of 4 multiple access technique: space division, frequency division, time division, and then code division multiple access. Is it clear for all of you? The first one will have the detailed discussion about every access, multiple access. The first one is that space division multiple access. As I was explaining, different users sharing the bandwidth are physically separated from each other by allocating them a separate space. So when we talk about the available bandwidth, again, when we talk about the bandwidth that complete range, say for example, 10 megahertz to 20 megahertz. So this is a 10 megahertz frequency. The 10 megahertz bandwidth that will be separated, that will be splitted, and every user you will be allocated to the sub channel. So in that cases, irrespective of whether the user are utilizing or not, right, the specific channel will be allocated or the specific space will be allocated. This is what we discussed when we are talking about the cluster as well as the cellular communications, right? So again, so this is a cluster of 9. Again, every cluster they will be using a specific frequency F1, F2, F3, and then F4. Here the whatever the regions, whatever the geographical area which comes under the cell F4, which is indicated in the yellow color, so that are the geographical area that is called the space. So this geographical area and whoever the user who are present in this place, and they will be using the specific frequency, right? Again, some chances that suppose if the users from this F3, again they may not be able to use the same frequency. If it depends upon the space, every users from one geographical area, and so they will be using they will be allocating or they will be allotted to the specific frequencies. So this is again one of the example how the users are which are categorized are grouped based on the geographical locations. Also, we discussed about that interference is further reduced by using a sectorized antennas. Can anyone quickly tell what is meant by sectorization, which we discussed in that cellular concept, cellular system 2? What is sectorization? Sector. I was explaining about suppose if you are using omnidirectional antenna, omnidirectional. What is an omnidirectional antenna or a isotropic antenna? Isotropic or omnidirectional antennas are the antennas which radiates the signals around a 360 degree of its, no, it's where it is placed. Right. In that cases, right, when we talk about isotropic or omnidirectional antenna, practically that is impossible. Instead, that what we are going to do is that that entire 360 has to be divided into three sectors. Sectors, when you talk about sectors, the complete coverage area, geographical location, which will be divided into smaller sectors. Sectors, again, in another terms, is a small geographical area. It's a part, I could say that, right? The entire 360 region, so that will be divided into three sectors, where each sector will comprises of 120 degree. Right now, whenever the user who are all lying in this specific region, and no, the specific antenna will be used, right? Maybe the sectorized antennas. What is mean by sectorized antennas? Are directional antennas? Directional antennas which specifically transmit the signals only in the specific direction where it is intended, right? Instead of having a single isotropic antenna, a cell will be divided into three parts, right? Forget about, so here for understanding, I mentioned here three diagrams. Instead that, consider about only one cell. If this cell which will be divided into three sectors, every sector will use a different antennas. That antennas we are calling as a sectorized antennas that provide coverage only to the 120 degree. Again, for second sector, we'll use another frequency or another antenna. Again, third sector, again we'll go with the third sectorized antenna again, so that will work on the different frequencies. If you are following this, so what happens, this type of thing which could be used whenever if the population is high, maybe in telecommunications, right? Again, this could be used in a metropolitan city, right? Because suppose if the directional antennas in some places, say for example some public party or public meeting is there, where no, it is expected more than 1 lakh people they are going to gather in that place. Again, in that cases, so instead of having isotropic antenna, so we can use some no directional antennas that will no automatically will increase the energy, so that will provide coverage to more than 1 lakh people at a time. So by the way, so whenever based on the demands, this sectorized antennas or sectorization can be utilized in the communications. Now again, so here we'll be talking about the directional antennas even from the satellite. Again, the users in the specific geographical locations, and you will be provided coverage based on maybe based on the whatever the transmitter they are using, right? Maybe I explained with the type of the base station. So here the diagram which is represented with help of the satellite, right? So here the people who are present in the specific geographical uses, and they will be allocated using a specific frequency. Now this group of people, they will be using frequency 1 here. This group of people are whoever comes under this region, geographical region, and they'll be using the frequency 2. When you talk about the space division multiple access, it is completely depends upon their geographical locations, right? So some of the advanced smart antennas as well as the adaptive arrays. So as I was explaining about, right, and so depends upon the services it requires. I was explaining about the frequency dynamic allocation, channel allocations. So when we talk about a fixed channel allocation as well as dynamic channel allocation, the smart antennas, right, are the base station. What it will do then depends upon the cell breadth. When we talk about a cell breadth, the number of users who are trying to access the specific cell. So, say for example, normally if there is a cell, there are only 1,000 users. So in that cases, one transmitter or one base station can provide services to all 1,000 users comfortably. Suppose some unexpected situation, more than 10,000 people they are came into the cell. In that cases, a single base station cannot be able to provide services. In that cases, what it will perform, automatically it will try to borrow some frequencies or borrow some channel from the neighboring cells. So that no, which is completely based on the smart antennas, right? Based on the base station ability, it will collect some free channels from the neighboring cells, and that will be used to for providing services to that the all 10,000 user who suddenly came into this specific cell region. Is it clear? So far, if you have any doubts, you can quickly write in the chat box. So in the next session, we will start with the frequency division multiple access. Is there any doubt so far? Did you wrote your attendance in the chat box, all of you? Any doubts? Okay, once if the meeting ends, join the meeting after 5 to 10 minutes. I need some cell division. You're talking about, Chaitanya, are you talking about sectorization, cell divisions? Is it? Is it? You want me to explain about cell sectorization or the cluster part?